What up, people? Today we are going to be talking about something that I like to call the conundrum of ideals. A lot of people actually think if they were to hypothetically form a society of people that align and think exactly the same, then it would form into some kind of utopia. I was actually thinking about this in depth the other day, and I'm not 100% sure that would be the case. I think what it would actually do is form a society, yes, of like-minded people that will be able to sort of unify and work together, really cool things and certain ideals that are aligned to their personal ideals. So it may not be considered cool across the board outside of that society, but within that society, everything would be A-okay and really cool. Everyone's aligned in the same direction and the same ideals. So what I'll do is I'll talk sort of outside of, let's say, that hypothetical society and inside of that hypothetical society, and then sort of like the relationships between. So inside the society, let's say everyone does think very similarly. A lot of cool things could be created in alignment with everyone's ideals because their ideals are very similar. We'll call it the closed off society just so we know what we're talking about. Okay, so outside of the closed society, everyone might be like looking in on the closed society and they'll be like, right, okay, these guys are achieving whatever they're achieving really fast, really quickly because they're all aligned and working towards the same ideals and goals. A speed difference in development in certain areas. That may be technology, that may be thought process, philosophy, that may be, I don't know, maybe religious ideals or other things, you know, all kinds of things like that. So they may be very advanced in those areas, okay? There's also detrimental sides, which you can well imagine. What also may happen in that society is everything that's outside of their alignments potentially could be considered wrong, okay? So those two sort of paradigms, those ideas, right and wrong, there's some truth to them and some like lies to them. So they kind of don't exist, but they kind of do. I think that the very notion of right and wrong is basically just an acknowledgement of alignment, right? So are these things aligned with my particular ideals or our particular goals as a society? If not, then they are wrong. If they are, then they are right. You know what I'm saying? So in a closed off society, those sort of paradigms may change and be maybe opposed to the rest of the outside world, you know, outside society. In doing so, that can create conflict between the two. I mean, we've seen this like wars in the past or disputes in the past or ways of organizing and governing different types of people because of their various ideals and the differences between them. So I find this very interesting because it creates those different sort of paradigms, those different perspectives, and some of them clash. You know, some of them clash. I'm not exactly sure how to sort of overcome that because a lot of people say, oh, okay, well, the way to overcome it is to align everybody, which is, you know, some of the things some of the conquerors of the past tried to do. You know, you had like Alexander the Great, you know, like the British Empire. What they were trying to do was conquer large areas of space or people and lands and unify them under one ideal. But the problem is that never really happened or occurred. I mean, Hitler tried to do the same thing, that never happened or occurred. And I don't think it ever is going to, because everyone is going to have different perspectives on different things. And even if they were to align, some people wouldn't. Some people wouldn't, and they would be considered outcasts and outsiders. And this happens every day in society, and it's always happened throughout the ages. There are always going to be people that haven't been aligned and do not see things the same way that everybody else does. I think this is always a good thing because then it explores those different possibilities, those potentials and perspectives, okay? And they are all worth considering, in my opinion. Again, not all of them are productive. Not all of them are right. Some may be right, some may be wrong. But again, I do think, all of them are worth considering in terms of what are the pros and what are the cons. And if there are many more negative cons, then it's like, is that productive towards, I don't know, maybe the greater society? If the greater society needs to be considered, hey, it may be a small society on an island somewhere. So does greater society need to be considered then as well? No, it doesn't, because it's just those smaller few people on that island They can create their own society and they can create their own ideals and do what they need to do that's suitable and most productive for them. Okay? So in all cases, it doesn't, these greater ideals don't need to be considered, and these right and wrongs don't always need to be adhered to, because those right and wrongs may not be the same right and wrongs in a different space, in a different ecosystem. Those may change. So again, like I said, for example, those few people on an island doing their thing that are productive for them may be right. With the greater society, it may be considered wrong, some of the things that they're doing. Now, the hard line for this, and I think is a very, very, very good guide, is karmic right and wrongs, which I see is totally different. There may be rules made by society, governments, and this, that, and the other, and all kinds of things like that. However, I feel that karmic right and wrongs, those are universal laws that everybody feels. You know what I'm saying? Like, you literally feel that in your very, very being. I know there are some people that won't, just simply because, I don't know, they're just a different type of makeup, okay? But they are few and far between. The majority do feel like a karmic right and wrong within them. It's a universal law. I think that it is always a good measure of right and wrong to go by. Okay, I wouldn't even call it like right and wrong, but you just know, you know, okay, this action is going to bring bad karma and this action is going to bring good karma. Or it may be neutral, but you know, like deep down within yourself, you know what I'm saying? So I always find that that is the best measure to sort of align and go by, right? And like I say, I've said in my videos before, like, you know, do your thing, you know, do what you want to do as long as it's not hurting anybody, because you do need to fulfill your purpose. Well, you don't, I feel I need to. Other people may not feel the same. However, it's like, I understand you go in your own way in order to fulfill your purpose. I totally understand that, right? And I would recommend that to a lot of different people if that's what they want to do, okay? However, again, like I said, without hurting people, because you don't need that on your shoulders, and it's a good measure to go by, that karmic measurement. But like I said, with regards to society, I find that really interesting, just how right and wrong would change. And there's many different examples of this all over the world. You've got like this extreme example right here, but Ku Klux Klan. Like, they may think their ideals and the way they go about things and all of that kind of stuff is totally right. I'm pretty sure they freaking do. Is that right across the board and globally? Maybe not, because it's not very considerate of people of different origins, for silly reasons, in my opinion. There's an example. Another example is you may have people that are into basketball or into surfing or into bodybuilding, weightlifting, whatever. You know, those smaller societies, those smaller groups, they're all aligned and they're into that same hobby, okay? And they may have different outlooks on what fitness means and what it is to be fit. I was thinking about this the other day because I'm actually into my fitness quite a lot. I do go to the gym. However, fitness, I would not necessarily associate with weightlifting, okay? Because it puts a lot of strain on your body if you're pushing it to the max. It puts a lot of pressure on your body as a regular basis. Now, masculine sort of genetics are more sort of aligned again with this. We're meant to build and put on muscle and push and lift heavy-ish. But at the same time, that's not toward the detriment of other things. For example, cardiovascular exercise, you know, or flexibility and all these other things. There's also things that help your mental health and all of that kind of stuff. So when you use the word fit in association with go into the gym, and weightlifting in particular is what I'm talking about when I say go into the gym, it's like, yes, that's a portion of fit, but it's not like, oh, okay, this person goes to the gym, this person weightlifts, so they are fit. No, that's not the case at all. You need good cardiovascular exercise, you need weightlifting, you may need calisthenics in there, you may need flexibility exercises in there, you know, joint and tendon exercises and strengthening exercises in there as well. There's a holism to it, not just that one aspect. So I wouldn't say someone that goes to the gym and weightlifts is fit in particular. You know, I would need to look at them on sort of a holistic level, because most people that do go to the gym weightlifting, and this is including myself, don't particularly entertain much cardiovascular exercise as well. You know, sports, all those kinds of other things included. So this is what I'm saying about like the ideals, the alignments, and all of that kind of stuff like that. Certain weightlifters may look at themselves as fit, and then in that closed off society, you all see things the same way, and they're like, yeah, we're fit, but they're not really. They're hitting a portion of fit, okay, but not the whole thing, not the whole spectrum. You know what I'm saying? So it's just interesting, those ideals, those perceived notions, and those right and wrongs, how they change within sort of closed off or smaller, let's say, societies of aligned thinkers. It's really, really interesting. Now, with all of this in mind, this does lead me to believe personally that it's best to always have diversity within every ecosystem and zeitgeist, in my opinion, because then it brings in a lot more perspectives, a lot more ideals. It stress tests a lot of different thoughts, ways of doing things, methodologies, all kinds of stuff. So I really do believe in diversity as well. Much more so, you know? I just think the more the better. I do also enjoy sort of like experiencing and seeing how certain closed off societies have built up their own culture, because there is a kind of uniqueness to the cultures that they've built. Let's say, like, I don't know, you look at an Amazonian tribe, or even the different tribes in Africa. Look how different they are, and the cultures that they've built up, and the belief systems they've built up, and the traditions that they've built up. And they're all smaller closed off societies living different ways of life, but they're all on the same continent. Some within miles of each other, and yet they're so different. So I always find that really, really interesting. But even within those closed off societies, what's also very interesting is that there is diversity even within those closed off societies. Because again, not everybody, even though they may be mostly aligned, thinks the same. So they may have different ideals within a closed off society. That's still diversity, in my opinion, and adds flavor and intrigue to these different cultures within those closed off societies. So it goes deep, man. The rabbit hole is deep, fat. And I just find that so beautiful and so interesting. But one thing that I always lean towards is, like I said before, diversity within those cultures. I think it's such a beautiful thing in and outside of those cultures. But like I said, with diversity comes more of that stress testing, more of that incorporation of other ideals and perspectives, and I think that enriches different cultures and different ways of thinking. So that's why I'm all about that kind of stuff like that. Maybe you're aligned with me. Maybe we should create our own. I'm kidding, I'm playing, I'm jesting right now, but you know what I'm saying, So guys, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Really appreciate you listening to this. What are your thoughts based off of what we've been talking about in this video? Let me know down in the comments below, because I'm genuinely interested in your opinions, what you think of all of this. Support all across the board if you're able to, as and where you're able to. Liking and all that kind of ish. And guys, yeah, throw down if you have any questions in the comment section. Maybe we could talk about it in another video, or in the comment section as well down below. Okay guys, cool, take care, and I'll see you for the next video.